Jeremy Lewan is now out in the backyard, and it's still pretty toasty out there.
It is. It's hot and muggy. It's a steamy night, and I'm sure this is one that you don't enjoy. We've already established earlier in the show. But you know what? A lot of our viewers don't enjoy this type of heat either, and it's a kind of acquired taste. Temperatures are going to be close to the hottest they've ever been in the month of June here in Scranton. The hottest ever was 99 degrees, and we could nearly approach that tomorrow. I'm forecasting a high of 97. Now, we started off the day cooler than we expected because of the strong line of storms that rolled through New England. Here's the past satellite and radar loop. Look at all those lightning strikes. You heard earlier in the broadcast that 2 men were struck by lightning in Duryea. Not a surprise with all the lightning that was out in northeastern Pennsylvania. I want to show you the closer look. A lot of that energy was focused in Wayne and Susquehanna counties, where there were flood warnings earlier today, flash flood warnings with all that rainfall that came on through. Look at the stark contrast, though, right? Stark cutoff right over Wyoming and Luzerne counties through the Poconos. Anyone to the west of that line had a dry Sunday and the first dry full weekend in months since the beginning of March. But all that rain, especially up in the Finger Lakes region in New York, is now starting to percolate into the rivers. So there are some flood warnings where these rivers near Great Bend, where the Susquehanna flows up into New York State and then flows back into Pennsylvania. That's where there could be some minor flooding on the floodplains of the Susquehanna. So if you live there in that region of northern Susquehanna counties, it's expected to crest tonight into tomorrow morning. That flood warning in effect until 10 a.m. Now we've got clear skies. It is a very calm night, but that calm wind plus the high humidity going to cause some fog tomorrow morning. Now we're under this dome of high pressure, high pressure, right? Because when you have sinking air, it compresses as it sinks, and when those particles are closer together, it moves more, and kinetic energy is a basic function of heat. So when you have more movement, you have more heat with those particles, and that's why we have so much heat under this heat dome that this high pressure system is causing. We're under this excessive heat warning now. Before it used to be just a heat advisory. Now it is an excessive heat warning for Susquehanna, Bradford, Wyoming, Lackawanna, Luzerne, Columbia, southern Lycoming, Northumberland, Montour, Union, Snyder, and Schuylkill counties, where all of these areas could have feels like temperatures when you factor in the humidity, what it feels like on your skin, up to 107 degrees. Anyone in the orange could have feels like temperatures between 95 and 105 degrees. So that's why we've issued the weather impact alert from now till Tuesday afternoon. Extreme heat is going to make you very dehydrated, so you got to stay hydrated, especially if you're outdoors. The American Red Cross recommends 1 cup of water for every hour you spend outside in order to replace all that you sweat out. Now, these were your high temperatures today, into the 90s for everyone except for Mount Pocono, where we approached the upper 80s, but not a single one of them were records today because the rain cooled some of the air and tampered our high temperatures by a few degrees. So we didn't break a record in Williamsport, 1 degree below the record for Avoca, and 4 degrees below the record for Mount Pocono for today. Tomorrow, we're all breaking records. I think we're going to get into the upper 90s, which is warmer than it has ever been for the date June 23rd. And that's probably going to be the case for your Tuesday as well. Temperatures at 10 o'clock at night, still at 86 in Lewisburg, 82 for Williamsport. We're at 80 nearly here in Scranton. It was a busy day at Great Wolf Lodge with their pool starting to take a calm reprieve before it, I'm sure, is going to be busy again tomorrow afternoon with all the hot temperatures. Remember the sunscreen, SPF over 30, and you got to reapply it very often, especially if you're taking those dips in the pool. Now for your Monday, things are going to be dry the entire day. There's your future clouds and radar. Hardly anything, not even some cloud cover to help shade us. So you got to spend time underneath some trees or maybe underneath a house. Got to make sure, like a roof, maybe your sun deck. Make sure that you're taking the precautions to stay out of the sun, because on Tuesday we got another shot for an entire day of sunshine, maybe a percolated sprinkle here or there, but no reprieve from the heat. Tomorrow morning we will be dealing with fog between 5 and 8 a.m. If you're going out very early tomorrow morning, that will be an issue for you. And the humidity stays up the entire week because we have chances for rain as we go throughout the entire week. There are your high temperatures for tomorrow, and there are your high temperatures for Tuesday. Carbon copies of one another with temperatures approaching 100. That's why we have weather impact alerts in effect for both afternoons, Monday and Tuesday. We break the heat, Courtney. I'm sure you're happy about that on Wednesday. with just some chances for some isolated showers, but the storm chances really start to increase through Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So we've got a stormy end to the week and a very hot beginning to the week.
And I think everyone at the racetrack today was probably happy that it was cooler than predicted, because that would have been a really, really bad situation, I think, for all those folks out in the sun all day. Absolutely. Just take the necessary precautions if you plan on spending a lot of time in the sun tomorrow. Sounds good. All right. Thanks, Jeremy.
Yep.